Now 13.2 is almost a repeat of 13.1, just shorter. Suppose that Congress enacts a significant tax cut with the expectation that this action will stimulate aggregate demand and push up real GDP in the short run. In fact, however, neither real GDP nor the price level changes significantly as a result of the tax cut. What might account for this outcome? So in this one, your author is really focusing more, and I know that in the question because he says there's not any change in real GDP or the price level even in the short run. So now the author is really focusing more on this concept of rational expectations, or what he gives specifically in the book, the specific model depicting rational expectations, Ricardian equivalence. And what he's suggesting here is that, and maybe I probably misspoke on the last question because I said what we're doing with the $3 trillion of borrowing the government just did for our coronavirus effect. A lot of that was in the form described here, where he mailed checks. The president, mailed checks to so many households to do exactly this. Essentially, that's lowering taxes. It's just cutting your net taxes for the year because they're mailing us a check, and by the end of the year, we're still paying them taxes. So it's a decrease in taxes. Effectively, the stimulus checks that people are receiving around the country right now are this question. It's more so than an increase in government expenditure, although there's a lot of talk of that too with infrastructure. So I probably really misspoke with the last question. It's probably a better example of this question. The specific action we're doing. But if we are mailed a check from the government that reduces our taxes, net a reduction in our taxes, and we know we have to pay that back at some point, we might not say, we might not specifically say, oh, wow, here's I forget what most households are getting on average, but say it's $600. Here's a $600 check in the mail. Awesome. Woohoo. I'm going to go spend $600 of it. One way or another, we might say across households, something bad is going to happen in the future where I'm going to have to ante up this money that was sent to me. I'm just going to put it in the bank and be prepared for that. The more of that new money that we do that with, that's our marginal propensity to consume. Marginal propensity to save expanding as we think that way, or decreasing our marginal propensity to consume. Well, so the more we do that, the less the multiplier will be, and the less effective this tax cut will be. So that one explanation is Ricardian equivalence, or rational expectations, I prefer call it. But then the other is still crowding out, just like the last question, because the government is borrowing to do this, and they're likely pushing up on interest rates over what the private sector would be paying for interest rates, which crowds out private investment because firms or households won't be borrowing at the rate they otherwise would have because of these higher interest rates. Unlike number one, the price level isn't an effect on foreigners' purchases here, isn't going to be a factor because the question specifies that it didn't even raise the price level because so little happened with the tax cut. So when the dust settles from coronavirus, there will be, if you're looking for something fun to do in, let's say, 6 months, and hope that that's when this is all over, if you're looking for something fun to do, pay attention to CNBC or Bloomberg Business. Bloomberg, you can get that, it streams live. And watch those news organizations, and they will actually report how this turned out with this coronavirus tax stimulus that we've experienced. They'll actually probably give you some estimate of the multiplier. So we have that to look forward to. I'm sure that's going to keep you awake at night in anticipation.